There's no loss without some gain.
Insert something really dope right here.
If you scared to take a chance,
If you with me, then I'm with you.
What's up, day ones? It's your homie One here with another episode of One Day, and podcast about anything and everything we've been talking about becoming one. I give you the 3 steps, my 3 steps to becoming one, the things that have helped me, recenter and get in my zone. And now I'm talking about the 3 biggest obstacles to that. And last week I started with fear, and just how fear contributes. I mean, I wish I could just be like, obviously, but for some people, it's hard to really look beneath the surface and see, actually, it might be because I'm afraid of this that I really don't go after what I really want in my life. And, I don't want anybody to be living in fear. So if you haven't watched that episode, go watch it. Because fear is kind of like this, I don't want to call it an evil, like a necessary evil, but it is necessary. Because it helps us find our courage. It helps us find how we handle certain situations. It helps us to know ourselves, know what we're afraid of, and how we may be able to face that, find the courage to face it. So, it helps build character. All the things that I've been afraid of in my past, thankfully don't haunt me every day the way that they did in the moment. There have been again, some scary things that I've faced that I'm glad that I'm past, that I'm glad that I have the mindset that I do afterwards. That doesn't mean it didn't affect me at the time, and that doesn't mean it still doesn't affect me, but, I've been starting to realize how I handle my fear and how I face it and how I interact with it. And it's certainly a different way of learning than, being embraced by love and happiness. But, sometimes we got to learn different ways to really see who we are. And I think fear really contributes to that. And something else that contributes to that is the anxiety that I face. But we'll talk about that in the next episode, because this episode I really want to talk about my depression, or just depression in general. And, a little disclaimer, I'm not a professional. A lot of my perspectives on depression come from me. So I'm not going to hit you with any textbook definitions or, any type of medical diagnosis or anything, but just more of like being your friend and telling you the truth about what I've faced. And, hopefully it helps. Because I think the reason why it's depression and anxiety we'll get into next week, but the reason why, out of the 3 that I could pick, it's fear and depression, and is because when I first came to the realization of oneness, of like really seeing that, my life, it was telling a story that, whether I liked exactly what happened, it was my story. It is my story. And so whether I liked, the things that I've gone through or not, they've been a part of me. They've told me who I am. And the more that I mature, the more that I get older, I start to have a more intimate connection with the things that I really do like in my life. And in a way, I intimately have a connection to the things I don't like. I hold those truths very close to me. And and as I started to kind of get a grasp of what I wanted to do with my life and who I wanted to be, I was hit with, and that it was crazy, because in my heart, I was so fueled with happiness, like finally knowing, like, of all the things that I've experienced, of all my memories, of all the things that I've learned, everything in my life, I was putting the pieces together, and I was finding oneness, I was finding wholeness within myself, but then everything externally was like freaking falling apart. I would go to Haiti annually, and I realized that because of money and a lot of the political situations going on down there, that I wasn't going to be able to visit all the time, or even annually. And a girlfriend that was really important to me, we broke up, and my parents decided to get a divorce. All this stuff happened the year that I was like finally putting together. Oh my gosh, yo, like I feel my the core of my being calling me to be something more than what I've been doing, and I want to make music, and I want to reach people. I want to communicate with people. I want to know them. I want to understand life. And I was coming to all these awesome conclusions within myself and within my spirit, but then in my physical, everything was changing. Everything was rearranging itself. Everything was moving. It was like shifting. It was fluctuating, transforming. It wasn't ever really constant. And it was definitely not anything I was used to. Like at the time I liked having a girlfriend, and at the time I, of course loved my family. And, at the time it wasn't like I couldn't see myself graduating school. But there was just a lot that I wanted to know that school doesn't teach you. And even though deep down I knew it was what was best for me and this girl, and me and my parents with each other, even though I know a lot of what happened was for the best, at the time it was just really hard because it was a lot of the things that I held near and dear, and identified with: my family, the person that I was in a relationship with, and the things that I cared about, Haiti, and and even at the time I was, wanted to switch my major and wanted to do something different with school. So there was just a lot that didn't line up, with the life that I was dreaming of. I really, imagined myself having a partner, a spouse, a person that loved me regardless of what I wanted to do with my life, and regardless of who I am and who I was. Like, they would love me for me. And I had dreams of my family getting along and staying together. And the funny thing is they still do now. And the funny thing is I have a girlfriend now who does love me for who I am. So, all these things, like, again, I was afraid of them, and they made me sad. But there is a way to get out of them, out of fear and out of depression and out of anxiety. And I want to share my story with you, just hopefully so it can help you. But basically, yeah, I was just going, when I first realized, like, oh, this is really what I was getting excited. I was getting all hyped up. I wanted to, start. I wanted to, okay, let's, I really want to do this. And this is something that's finally over everything else has called to me. And I want to take action. I want to get involved. I want to actually move and do something. It really energized me. It really got me fired up. And then everything in life kind of just broke me down. It knocked me down and tore me down. And yeah, I had to find a way to build myself up, and to really build myself up, like, feel that, and because there's energy behind building yourself up. There's energy behind, saying, okay, all of this bad stuff is happening, but by the grace of everything, by the grace of the universe, I'm still here. I'm still, kicking it. So what can I do? Who can I be? And it was tough. It was so tough at first, and it's even tough now. It's like in 2020, it's been a crazy year, a year full of fear, a year full of depression, a year full of anxiety. What's coming next? Will things ever be the way that they were? And, even now is scary, right now. So I feel that with you. Trust me, I do. I have also been able to recognize that I've handled this version of depression within myself a little bit better than the first time, because I went through that first time. I went through the feelings of like not loving yourself and feeling so alone that nobody will ever understand, and having to literally dig myself out of this hole, where this depression feels more of like a retreat. Feels like a retreat back into not a hole, but like a cave. Like I'm going back into my cave, into my domain. I'm going to be with myself. I'm going to stay safe. I'm going to try to stay healthy. I'm going to try to, keep my mental healthy. Again, it's been freaking hard. It's broken me down again. I was getting all hype, finally making music, finally taking steps, and then it's like, oh, the apocalypse. The end of the world. And, I know we're all unique, and, we all perceive life in such different ways. So, of course, depression for each of us is going to be different. It's going to express itself in different ways. We're going to respond to it in different ways. And the circumstances, whatever, is contributing to that depression is going to be different. The causes, the effects, the side effects, all of that. I don't want to pretend that you know exactly what I went through and that I know exactly what you're going through, but the feelings of hopelessness, feeling lost and confused, I think those are pretty translatable. I've seen some of my friends this year and before just feel confused and lost in their depressions, and I kind of want to start defining what I think depression is to me. And maybe you'll feel this too, but I did a paper in college researching how happiness contributes to the longevity of our lives. If being happy actually has any scientific, empirical-based information that supports us living longer lives when we're happy. I wanted to look that up and research that, and because depression at the time was affecting me, and I wanted to be happy, and I wanted to be happier, and that's a lot of the reason that I'm even on this journey now today, is because I had the guts back then to say, I'm tired of being sad. I really want to be happy now. And I was doing my research, and the science behind being depressed, your brain actually depresses itself. It starts to slow down and perform at lower levels of efficiency, if you will, functionality. You don't want to move as much. Your motor cortex starts to slow down. Your memory starts to fade. Maybe even the part of your brain that holds your personality is depressed, so less of your personality starts to show, and you kind of maybe get into an autopilot state where things happen to you and you try to face them the best you can, but it's hard, it's overwhelming. Life can get that way, and we talked about that in the last episode, so I won't sit on that too much. But what I've found is, in my life, depression slows my vibration. It takes me from a place of high energy, high efficiency, high functionality, high awareness, to just low energy, low awareness, low mood, low vibes, where I'm not the fullness of myself. I'm not one with my true self. I am one with the sadness in myself, with the sadness in my heart, or maybe I'm reminiscing on getting stuck on something that happened that maybe I wish I could change, or I wish didn't go the way that it did, or maybe it just affected me and made me sad. It put me in a bad mood, and I'm it's just sticking with me, and like some causes for me, for my greatest depressions, were my near-death experience, my NDE, heartbreak, the current state of the world, is a big one right now. Insecurities, fears, doubts, just all the blech that is like just draining me, right? Draining all of us. I think we all feel a little bit, at least. I think you're a little crazy if you don't feel the depression in the air right now. It's slowing your vibration down too much, where you start to reminisce on things. You start to get stuck on things that happen, that you can't change, or even just kind of like now you can even feel it now, where you're just getting too caught up on now. I've gotten depressed often during this time of my life because now I'm, not the most talented freestyler, guitar player, or philosophical speaker that I know. I really wish I could be those things, and don't want me to be best or better than anybody else. But just like at the top of my ability, if I could personally, evaluate myself, do I think I'm gonna get better than I am right now? Yes, 111%. I do believe that. So there are times even now where I'm getting depressed with my current situation and just like sad that I'm not shredding at super incredible level when I've only been really playing guitar, focused, writing songs, playing for a year. And, freestyling and making music, I've done that on my own dime, on my own time. But I haven't been in a crazy huge professional studio with professional help and, mixing and mastering and all the staff and people and professionals and knowledge and information and tweaking and, perfecting and all of that. I haven't been through that. So, sometimes I think we expect a little bit too much of ourselves in the universe, thinking that everything should be perfect and everything should be heaven and everything should be exactly the way that we imagine it. And often it's not, and often that can be depressing. That can make us sad. And I definitely get that. I just spending a lot of my younger years, a lot of my time recently on that mood and feeling in that zone, feeling sad, feeling depressed, drained, wishing I could go back and change things that I messed up and right my wrongs and do better. I do take a second and think about now and think about who I am now and what I've seen and what I can handle and even this. Sorry y'all, like I it's taken me a lot to get here, to be able to sit in front of you and to open my heart like this. And if you don't mind me taking a moment just to say, like, nice job, Caden. Like, bro, good for you. Because I have been through a lot that's made me upset, and I have taken that negativity and I'm trying to make it into something that affects you in a positive way, because I could write raps talking about how effing pissed I am about the condition of the world and about how people are treating it and the mindset, the selfish, greedy, prideful, lustful, revengeful mindsets that people have about the world. And I wish I could heal that, and I wish I could, bring people to peace and bring people to see themselves as a kind and loving being that, has a lot of potential and is going to do a lot of great things for this world. I wish y'all are starting to see it, right? Y'all are starting to see the parts of me that are like, dang, I wish this is the way that it was, like I wish this is the way that I am, and I'm getting there. Oops, I'm getting there with myself. And I want to say that I'm already there. I really do. I want to say, like, yeah, bro, I'm happy. But life is a struggle, like life is it's something we're meant to fight for, meant to care about, meant to nurture, meant to take care of. So how do we take care of ourselves when we're depressed? How do we overcome the sadness that keeps trying to loom over us like the dark cloud and raining on us all the time, even when other people's worlds are sunny? Simply said, I think about that energy. I think about that low energy that sadness brings, and how it takes you over and depresses you and slows you down and kind of puts you in rest mode. Well, after you're done resting, after you're done relaxing and putting yourself together, we kind of expect there to be some overnight thing where the next day we are better. But really, it's again it's like a battle, or instead of a battle, let's think of it as like a climb, where at the top of the peak, at the summit of the mountain, is your happiness. And each step to get there is a step that you take in the direction of what makes you happy, what will contribute to the overall most joy that you could find in your life, and taking the steps to get out of sadness and into happiness. So taking the opposite energy of sadness, which is happiness, and going for that. So you don't want any more sadness, let's try to aim at happiness. Because there are people that I've interacted with that get caught up in their depression, they get so sad that becomes what they identify with. All of a sudden they are sadness, and the things that they think and the things that they are and the way that they behave and the actions that they perform, the behaviors that they have are sad. And the situations they put themselves in are sad. And I mean, it's very real. It's like fear. The more you're afraid of something, the more you avoid things that you're afraid of, but then the more you become afraid of them because you've never embraced them. You've never seen them face to face. You've always avoided them. You've always run away. That's what depression is like. Things that make you sad. There's a song. You can get addicted to a certain type of sadness. I want to say it's somebody that I used to know. What's the artist? Gautier? Somebody fact check me on this. You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness. That's the lyric I'm thinking of right now. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that if you want to get out of sadness, you have to start looking for the key to the door that leads to your happiness. You can't be sad and then keep doing things that are making you sad and keep becoming and being sadness and expect one day that everything will just turn around because of something external. Maybe you'll meet somebody, or maybe you'll find that perfect job, or that perfect place to live, or and that stuff contributes. Obviously, put yourself into the environment that contributes to your happiness. Go to the place that you think will make you the most happy, that has weather that fits your likes, and that has people that fit your vibe and all of that. But even if you're not, right? Like living in Detroit. I love living in Detroit because there's soul here. There's resilience, there's spirit. It helps me get into my zone, plus a lot of my childhood I spent meeting and seeing people around here. So I love the area. Is the weather my favorite? Not necessarily. And there are some cons to the city life. Do you meet some peculiar people, some unique people, and get into some unique situations? Yeah, for sure. But again, it's an attitude. It's a mindset. Even if I'm sad, I've learned that even if my mood is sadness, that it's not forever. It's not permanent. I'm not always going to be sad. That's another thing too, is some people, like that constant. At least sad is something that sad is something that, you can maybe become comfortable with, but it's not healthy. It really isn't living in a depressed state. Living at low functionality, low energy. It's draining. It's exhausting. I mean, and at some point, I realized it wasn't me. I was disappointing myself. I was getting irritated and angry at myself because I would let people down, and I would let myself down, and I wasn't performing at my best in school or socially, or handling my responsibilities the way that I wished that I did. Because I was depressed, and then sometimes I get depressed that's how I handled it, and like it's a slippery slope. It really is. But there's always that but, right? But you got to bring yourself back to the present. Like I said in the last episode, it's important to, all these external things that might make us feel victimized, that life is happening at us, to us, instead of more of like this moving with us to try to bring us to what's really important, to what really matters. Like that's a lot of what this season has done for me. Is even though it's been depressing me and it's ridden me with anxiety and fear and all of that, it's one, showed me that there's a way to handle it, a day at a time, and two, that it's not forever. It won't always be like this. But also three, that no matter what's happening externally, no matter what happens that I can't necessarily control, what I can control is how I feel inside. About myself, about the way that I face these things, about the way that I handle my situations, about the way that I behave. And too often I've let myself just slip to impulse or to urge or temptation, and just let myself slip into, all right, just do whatever you want. Fine, whatever. Like that type of attitude. And strange enough that the whatever attitude hasn't ever taken me to where I want to go. Because where I want to go is not whatever. Who I want to be is not so and okay. Like I want to be one with myself. I want to be kind to myself. I want to feel the way that I feel about the earth and other people, about myself, because I am inspired by this world and life and consciousness and other people and how they spend it. And there are people who use their free will questionably, and that might make me angry or upset or depressed. But I can't be a victim to that energy, to those people, to actions that just upset me. I've got to be a friend to myself. I've got to console myself. I got to fight for my happiness, and because I don't deserve to be sad forever, and neither do you, nor should anybody. Nobody should be sad forever, and that's why I think you should be a friend to yourself. Help console yourself. If anything, take the things that I say, and you don't have to listen to me verbatim. Take whatever sticks out of what I say, and whatever sticks with you and stays with you, that you feel like, dang, this really resonates. This actually relates to what I'm going through right now, or what I've been through. I think it's about time you psych yourself up and be your own friend, and motivate yourself, build yourself up, get yourself to your happiness, because that's where your real essence, the real oomph of who you are is waiting for you. Like what I said last week, everything you want is on the other side of what you fear. There are reasons to appreciate what we go through, the fears that we go through, the hard times, the negative times, the dark times, the long nights. There's a reason to be grateful for those things. It helps us come together, relate, see each other, see the struggle, even though they manifest themselves in different ways. We all go through it. It's like that beautiful paradox of like everything that makes us different also makes us the same. I love paradoxes. I love things that like feed into themselves, like the same but different. How does that work? But yeah, really, I want to encourage you to make your mental health a priority. Make your self-care the practice of loving yourself, and loving your life, and the way that you participate in it, and the people and the places and the things that are also in it. You know, making that a priority, caring about yourself, caring about your life, meditating, breathing. I still am reminding myself that, you know, after 22 years, you'd think that, all right, breathe. And here I am. Blah, 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 blah. Work out, yo. You, like, spend some energy. Drink a smoothie. Energize yourself. Give yourself some good food. Give yourself some good quality time. Relax. Or maybe if you've been relaxing and that's depressing you, like me, it's been a great season of sitting around. I've been learning how to actually be a musician, so that's good. I'm taking the steps to make it legit. But for me, I don't like sitting around for too long. So maybe sitting around depresses you, and maybe it's time for you to get some work done. I feel that. Whatever brings you back to the present moment, whatever brings you back to now and reminds you who you are and what you are capable of and the potential that you have, because you've been happy. There's been a time in your life where you've been happy, happier than the happy. Happier than a glad bag full of trash. Super glad. I love that analogy, even though it's about garbage. Glad trash. There's a bar in there somewhere. But yeah, some words of encouragement, y'all. Your life belongs to you. Like you want to find your happiness, then don't be afraid to seek it out. That belongs to you. That little blip of consciousness in you that's saying, you know, this would really make me happy if I knew more about this, or spent more time doing this, or maybe did less time doing this, and maybe figured out what I wanted to do with that new time, more free time. Spend less on social media and just mindlessly scrolling, hoping that something catches your attention and makes you smile for a second. Instead of doing that, you know, maybe you make yourself smile. Maybe you're a comedian or an artist or also a musician, or, you know, maybe you are an accountant or a financial consultant, or maybe you are a businessman or woman, or maybe you are a therapist or any profession, doctor, nurse, dentist, whoever you are or whatever you are. First of all, I hope the thing that you're doing on the daily is contributing to that happiness, because if you're doing something on the daily that stresses you out and makes you upset and makes you mad and makes you all this whatever, hoo-ha crazy, well then, again, back to what I said before, don't expect all that hoo-ha crazy to just one day make you happy. And one day you're satisfied, and one day you're, what's that word? Complacent. You're complacent, you're satisfied with the life that you have, fine. All right, I guess this is what it is. Like, if you're doing something that you really hate, or that, you know, is making you irritated or rubbing you the wrong way, and it's not contributing to your mental health or your mental sanity or making you a best friend to yourself and others, bro, what do I say about that stuff? It's time to find some change. It's time to change something. That's what I did. That's what I freaking did, y'all, and I'm proud of this part, because when I was the most upset, the most depressed, freaking lost, confused, did not know what to do, I listened to my heart. My heart was telling me all this stuff. It was louder than my head. It was louder than my anxiety. It was louder than my depression. It was louder than my fear. My heart, my passion, my soul, whatever you want to call it, was louder than that. My purpose. It was like, bro, we got to get you out of this rut. We got to get you happy again. We got to get you back to you. You want to find your happiness. Don't be afraid to seek it. There's no need to sit around waiting for the world to see you. Be seen. Man, I wish I could tell myself this stuff, bro. I wish I could tell myself. Don't wait for the world to see you. Be seen. Speaking of seeing, try to see each of the opportunities that life throws at you as each moment as an opportunity to what I want to call taste it. What I want to call is like sipping the juice or tasting the juice, juicing the moment, because you spend all this time harvesting and nurturing and growing these fruits, the fruits of your labor. But what good are the fruits if you just leave them out to sit for, what, the bugs to get them? Like, great, but bugs live for like a day. We're living for like years, y'all. We inhabit this. We make this. Like, bugs, fine, are in the circle of life, yes, but like, we in the circle of life have a lot of influence on ourselves and on everybody else. So when you put in work and you're getting fruits of your labor, don't just let the bugs eat it. Drink your juice, yo. Juice the moments. You worked hard to get here. You worked hard to be this. Take the most of what you've got. And I'm not saying selfishly take everything from everybody else and only you are important in the moment. No. Contribute, participate, be here with everybody else. See that they are also a part of the moment, that they are also hoping to juice the moment, get some juice out of their labor. They've been working hard. You've been working hard. We've been working hard to get here, to be here, to still be moving, still be progressing towards what I hope is more freedom, more unity, more love and hope and all of that good stuff. I really hope we're going in a good direction. Otherwise, what am I doing here? But so yeah, when it comes to getting caught up by that sadness, you've got to remember how hard you've worked. And maybe it's not even like just physical work, but mental. Trying to make yourself happy. Spiritually trying to satisfy yourself in what you know. Trying to be with yourself and love yourself and respect yourself in a way that is kind and gentle and friendly. You don't got to harshly love yourself. You don't got to harshly do anything. You know, maybe there are some times, to be brutally honest, be a little harsh, but, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, and with everything, moderation. You can't... You know, I hope you're not sad all the time, because I've been there. I've been feeling like is this forever? Is this really who I am and what I'm going to be like now? You worked hard. You've done so much. You've been so much to be here. What are you going to do with it? I hope you drink the juice. And then go make some more fruit, bro. There's more where that came from. So here's some homework. This week, if y'all wouldn't mind, maybe try to do a random act of kindness. Because the easiest way to experience happiness is by giving it. The easiest way to find happiness is by offering that to somebody else. So try to do a random act of kindness. It can be big or small or whatever. Pay for somebody's meal, walking to a lady across the street, say something nice to your friend, you know. See how it makes them feel. And then see how that makes you feel. So, hopefully, you know, any of this helped. Next week we got anxiety, which to me is like the opposite of depression, where you raise your vibration too fast. You're thinking too far into the future. You aren't there yet. Your mind's not there yet. Your body ain't there yet. So it's just like worrying about all the questions and how you're going to answer them, how, who, what. Like, it's just, anxiety is like that big chatter voice. Instead of like the Eeyore, like the, oh, I guess today is okay. Instead of like the low and slow Eeyore voice from Winnie the Pooh. An anxious voice would be like I'm trying to relate it to another Winnie the Pooh character. I guess who would it be? Like wasn't Piglet super scared, super like squeamish and scared of stuff? Maybe a little bit of Piglet. Wasn't Rabbit kind of like high strung a little bit too? Like when I think of anxiety, what's a character that I related to? Oh, a little bit like Zazu. Y'all know Zazu from Lion King? Where it's just like your mind is always going and it's always rolling and you're always trying to answer the questions and always trying to like do the right thing and be in the right place at the right time and like yeah, that to the extreme. Without moderation, anxiety will take you for a ride, and that is equally as exhausting as depression, if not even more. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we'll talk about anxiety next week, but yeah, let's overcome our depression, yo, please. And the best way to do that is by sharing happiness with each other, sharing a smile to you, and hopefully I can feel you smile back. So thank you for listening, and I'll catch y'all next week. You know what it is.